box office sales just hit 25-year lows. Even before this Labor Day weekend becomes a disastrous one for Hollywood, the 2017 box office in the U.S. is looking bad. It is 6.3% behind 2016, lagging behind the last few years. If you add in inflation, those figures are even worse. Let's look at 2012. In 2012, average tickets cost $7.96. Today it is nearly $1 more, and still the revenue is even lower than initially thought. Advertisement. With no apparent faith in their own product, this is the first Labor Day in 25 years where a new title has not been released on more than 1,000 screens. Over this weekend last year, the box office hauled in nearly $130 million. This year will do about a third of that. The attendance over the summer has been at a 25-year low. Granted, summer doesn't end for a few weeks, it won't beat 2016. Hollywood has had bad years before and it was not the end of the world. This year feels different, like we have crossed a Rubicon. Investors appear to agree. Advertisement. We begin with the fact that some 15 years ago, the movie business stopped being a growth business. While revenues have increased a bit, admissions have remained stagnant. Those revenues were boosted through premium-priced gimmicks like 3D and IMAX. Let's be real, the reason they are struggling is the fact that they are shelling out a bad product, and when you shell out a bad product, you can't be political and combative in the public eye. One can argue that the worldwide box office has opened up considerably, and while true, entry into that market is an insanely expensive gamble, meaning a CGI'd franchise film, $250 $350 million entrance fee when you account for production and promotion costs. Moreover, after exhibitors take their cut, a movie has to gross a little more than twice its budget just to break even. What do you think of this fallout at the Hollywood box office? Watch now. More. Related. Breaking News 24. As Trump's help out in Harvey, the internet is asking a vital question about the Obamas. President Trump and First Lady Melania took another trip to Texas according to IJR. Now that some of the floodwaters have subsided. This return trip was to the epicenter in Houston, Texas, where the NRG Stadium where the Houston Texans play is an acting shelter for the Harvey victims who have been displaced. Someone thought they were funny. This is the kind of work you look for from the President of the United States. Barack Obama was nothing like this. His wife didn't even show up at the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy's damage. This is how you lead a country. At the shelter, a little girl came running up to President Trump, and he gave her a kiss. Later, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump took time to hand-deliver boxes of food aid for Hurricane Harvey victims. Advertisement. It's good exercise, the president said, while loading boxes into a truck near a church. Houston, Texas is going to take years to recover after a storm of this magnitude. The best part of this is all the time President Trump took to be in pictures with the victims, and this was while he was on break from loading boxes to help the victims recover. The president is beating liberals every step of the way. How many liberal politicians did you see in those pictures and videos? Oh yeah, that's right, they aren't practicing what they preach. They're too busy being upset about Melania wearing heels again. After all is said and done, as might have been predicted, the president will leave Texas with plenty of memorable exchanges with Harvey victims. Let that be a lesson to the left on the danger of politicizing national disasters. What do you think about this? Do you believe that any liberals will bash him after this? Of course they will. They are never satisfied with anything. Where were the Obamas? Share this story and the good news of President Trump putting America first. Watch now. More. Related. Breaking News 24. Melania Trump once again silenced her haters without saying a word. The liberals, The mainstream media and all the people who hate on the First Lady no matter what blasted her the morning when she decided to wear heels on her way down to Texas. Melania together with the president went over there to help the victims of the water flood, not to be judged for the clothing she wears. People in Texas and Houston lost homes, lost everything they built, and people dare to talk about shoes. This is another proof how much they are actually ignorant. The First Lady never addresses directly the rumors. She is silencing the media with something totally else. For the second time around, her and the president traveled to Texas to meet with Governor Greg Abbott to discuss a Hurricane Harvey relief strategy. To the left's disgust, Melania boarded the plane to Texas wearing stilettos once again, reports Idr. What seemed like the entire internet blew up in abhorrence, claiming she was out of touch with the victims, only to find out she changed into tennis shoes once she landed in Texas. You would think the left would have learned its lesson that Melania might just own more than one pair of shoes, but it didn't. Saturday, Melania left the White House again, wearing high heels as a big middle finger to her haters. After landing in Texas, Melania made a statement about her support for Texas without saying anything. The president and First Lady then made a surprise visit to a shelter, handed out food, played with the kids, and loaded supplies into trucks. The president and First Lady are expected to continue to visit hurricane victims throughout the rest of the day Saturday. The mainstream media and the lefties will continue to be silenced from the First Lady for so long. People associate wearing heels and ignore the real issue here since Harvey started. They do not care what the flood brought to these people. They only care what Melania or Donald will wear. Shame. In what kind of environment did they grow up, and who taught them to such intolerance and judgment? Watch now. More. Related. Breaking News 24. South Carolina city rejects order to take down Confederate statue. After Charlottesville, all the people who support the lefties and who call themselves activists want to erase the American history as soon as possible. These activists demand from the cities to take down every single Confederate statue because they find it offensive to some people. For example, the effort to take down a Confederate monument outside Greenville Springwood Cemetery in South Carolina got very interesting feedback. On Friday, the city refused the activists' demand to take it down and added that their request is basically impossible. Western Journalism reports that Travis Green, president of Fighting Injustice Together, FIT, said his group wants the statue demolished because of its racist premises. "We feel like it is a symbol of oppression for African Americans here," said Green, who admitted he did not know the statue existed until recently. The monument was erected in 1891, and stood on Main Street until being moved to the cemetery in 1923. At the time, one of the reasons used to justify the move was the transition to automobiles, which made the statue a traffic hazard. The monument now stands near the graves of about 80 unknown Confederate soldiers. Bruce Wilson, the founder and CEO of FIT, had formally asked for the statue to come down. The city officially responded on Friday in a letter from City Attorney Michael Pitts. The letter read as follows, adds Western Journalism. Dear Mr. Wilson, I have been provided with a copy of your August 20, 2017 correspondence to the Greenville City Council. I write in my capacity as the city attorney solely to clarify the facts and law surrounding this important issue for our community. The Confederate statue is located in a public plaza adjacent to the Springwood Cemetery. While not integrated into the cemetery itself, it nevertheless sits on property that is part of the cemetery, the parcels of which have been assembled over the years by various conveyances of property. The city does maintain the plaza as it does all such public places. It is my understanding the statue itself requires no ongoing maintenance. The statue is not privately owned. It was the subject of a 1924 lawsuit where the South Carolina Supreme Court recognized the statue as public property. Grady v. City of Greenville, 129 SC 89, 1924. The statue is a war monument or memorial covered under Section 10(1) 165 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, commonly known as the Heritage Act. The Act provides as follows. A. No Revolutionary War, War of 1812, Mexican War, War between the States, Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Persian Gulf War, Native American, or African American history monuments or memorials erected on public property of the state or any of its political subdivisions may be relocated, removed, disturbed, or altered. No street, bridge, structure, park, preserve, reserve, or other public area of the state or any of its political subdivisions dedicated in memory of or named for any historic figure or historic event may be renamed or rededicated. No person may prevent the public body responsible for the monument or memorial from taking proper measures and exercising proper means for the protection, preservation, and care of these monuments, memorials, or nameplates. B. The provisions of this section may only be amended or repealed upon passage of an act which has received a 2/3 vote on the third reading of the bill in each branch of the General Assembly. In light of the act, the statue may not be moved or otherwise relocated. Nor may it be covered as that would constitute disturbing and/or altering the statue, which is also prohibited. The provisions of the act may not be repealed or amended by a 2/3 vote of the South Carolina General Assembly on third reading. This letter strictly addresses the legal issues raised by the Heritage Act and does not reflect or address any council member's opinion concerning the appropriateness of the monument or its location. If you have any questions about the city's legal position, I would be delighted to address them. Wonder what was their response? Well, the activists said that Greenville may won the battle but not the war. We'll see about that. The statues are part of the American history and the American history should never be erased. Watch now. More. Related. Breaking News 24. Miss Blow Up the White House aka Madonna has left America. Remember Madonna? Yeah, nobody really cares about her anymore, I know. She's mostly known for saying Bats T things like blow up the White House and ranting incoherently about Trump. Well, I've got some good news for you, Madonna has finally left America. It seems Madonna's plan to perform oral sex on any guy who voted for Hillary Clinton didn't pan out, so now she's following her dreams in other ways. The former pop star says she is now living in Portugal, according to a report from Breitbart. She announced the news on Instagram, saying I used to be a basket case but now I live in Lisbon. Used to be? Madonna, who is 59, says the energy in Portugal is energizing and inspiring her. She wants to conquer the world from a new vantage point. She is working on new music and a film called Loved. The film will be based on the novel The Impossible Lives of Greta Wells about a woman who starts time traveling after getting electroshock therapy. Now I don't know about time travel, because I wouldn't trust Madonna with that level of responsibility, but she could probably use some of the electroshock. Just saying. Oh, did I mention this? Put on your PSI hat and relive the memories. Don't cry for me, America. Oh, we won't Madonna, we won't.